Commander Zethkar stared at his instruments in complete shock. The readings made no sense. A human ship had just appeared next to his monitoring station using faster-than-light travel. This was impossible. His skin turned bright orange, which meant he was very confused and scared. "Sir, what do we do?" asked his helper. The young Veltari was shaking with fear. "The humans are requesting permission to dock with our station." Zethkar tried to think clearly. According to all Galactic Council rules, first contact with a primitive species should happen at the Council headquarters with proper ceremonies and protocols. No primitive species had ever shown up unannounced at a monitoring station. This broke every rule in the book. "Let them dock," Zethkar decided. "But activate all security systems. We don't know what these humans want." The human ship called New Horizon connected to the station's docking bay. Zethkar watched through cameras as the airlock opened. 3 humans stepped out wearing simple spacesuits. They moved with confidence, not like scared primitives meeting advanced aliens for the first time. The first human was tall with short brown hair. He walked like a military leader. Behind him came a woman with long black hair carrying some kind of electronic device. The third human was a big man who kept looking around at everything, but his eyes were alert and intelligent. Zethkar met them in the station's main meeting room. The translator systems activated automatically, allowing both species to understand each other. The lead human stepped forward and removed his helmet. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Space Command," he said. His voice was calm and strong. "This is Dr. Lisa Park, our communications specialist, and Colonel Sam Turner, our military advisor." Zethkar's skin shifted to purple, showing his confusion. "I am Commander Zethkar of the Veltari Observation Corps. Your presence here is unexpected. Your species was classified as primitive just cycles ago." Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "That was your first mistake, Commander. You assumed we would develop according to your schedule. Humans don't work that way." Dr. Park stepped forward and activated her electronic device. A holographic display appeared showing alien text alongside English translations. "We have been monitoring your communications for 3 months, Commander. We know about the Galactic Council. We know about your classification system. We know you have been watching us for 20 years. Zethkar felt his hearts beating faster. Humans were not supposed to be able to decode Galactic Council communications. The encryption was considered unbreakable by primitive species. "How did you break our communication codes?" he asked. "The same way we developed faster-than-light travel in 3 months, Colonel Turner said. We studied your signals, figured out how they worked, and then built our own versions. Humans are very good at reverse engineering technology." Jake activated a small device on his wrist. Another holographic display appeared, this one showing technical diagrams. "We have analyzed your monitoring station, Commander. We know how your power systems work, how your weapons operate, and how your defensive shields function." Zethkar looked at the diagrams in horror. They were completely accurate. Somehow these humans had scanned his entire station and understood its technology in just a few minutes. "More importantly," Dr. Park continued, "we have identified several critical weaknesses in your systems. Your power grid has 3 major failure points. Your weapons have a 6-second recharge delay that leaves you vulnerable. Your shields operate on frequencies that can be disrupted with the right energy pulse. You are threatening us," Zethkar said. His skin turned dark red, showing anger and fear. "No," Jake replied calmly. "We are demonstrating that your classification of humans as primitive and harmless is completely wrong. We are not threatening you. We are showing you that we could threaten you if we wanted to, but we choose not to." Colonel Turner stepped closer to the alien commander. "Commander, in human military thinking, the best way to avoid a fight is to make sure your opponent knows you can win if a fight starts. We don't want to fight the Galactic Council. We want to talk to them, but we want them to understand that humans are not weak." Dr. Park showed more data on her device. "We have also been studying your other communications. We know about 12 different alien species in your council. We know about your trade routes, your diplomatic protocols, and your military capabilities. In 3 months, we have learned more about your civilization than most primitive species learn in centuries." Zethkar sat down heavily in his chair. This was the worst possible scenario. A primitive species had not only achieved advanced technology, but it also gathered detailed intelligence about galactic civilization. The Council would panic when they heard about this. "What do you want?" Zethkar asked. "We want a formal meeting with the Galactic Council," Jake said. "We want to be recognized as a spacefaring civilization. We want to establish diplomatic relations and trade agreements. We want to be treated as equals, not as primitive children." "The Council will never agree to that," Zethkar replied. "You develop too quickly. Your species shows too much aggression. You will be seen as a threat." Jake's smile returned. "Commander, we have studied your species' history. The Veltari fought 3 major wars before joining the Council. Most Council species have violent histories. The difference is that we achieved spaceflight while we were still learning to control our aggressive instincts. That is exactly why the Council will fear you," Zethkar said. Colonel Turner laughed. "Let them fear us. Fear leads to respect. Respect leads to negotiation. Negotiation leads to peace. This is how humans have always solved our problems." Dr. Park activated another display showing human historical data. "Commander, in the past 100 years, humans have gone from fighting with simple guns to developing nuclear weapons capable of destroying our entire planet. But we have also learned to control those weapons. We have learned to use our aggressive nature to protect instead of destroy." She showed images of human peacekeeping forces, disaster relief operations, and international cooperation. "When humans fight, we fight to win. But when humans help, we help completely. We can be your worst enemies or your best allies. The choice is yours." Zethkar looked at the 3 humans standing in his station. They were calm, confident, and completely in control of the situation. They had traveled across space, decoded galactic communications, analyzed advanced technology, and gathered detailed intelligence, all in 3 months. "I will contact the Council," he said finally. "But I must warn you, they will not be happy about this development." Jake nodded. "We understand. Change is never easy, especially when it happens fast. But Commander, the old way of doing things is over. Humans are part of the galaxy now. The Council can work with us or against us, but they cannot ignore us." "What if they choose to work against you?" Zethkar asked. Colonel Turner answered for the group. "Then they will discover that humans are much more dangerous than their classification suggests. We prefer cooperation, but we are prepared for any outcome," Dr. Park added. "We have shared our defensive capabilities with you today, Commander, but we have not shared our offensive capabilities. We hope we never have to." Zethkar felt a chill run through his body. These humans were not making threats. They were stating facts. They had developed from primitive to advanced in 3 months. They had gathered detailed intelligence about galactic civilization. They had demonstrated technical capabilities that should have been impossible. "I will send your request to the Council immediately," Zethkar said. "But I must also report everything that has happened here today." "We expect you to," Jake replied. "In fact, we insist on it. We want the Council to understand exactly what they are dealing with. We want them to know that humans are not primitive. We are not harmless. And we are not going away." The 3 humans put their helmets back on and walked toward the docking bay. As they left, Jake turned back to Zethkar one last time. "Commander, thank you for 20 years of surveillance. Your reports helped us understand galactic civilization. Now it is time for galactic civilization to understand us." After the humans left, Zethkar sat alone in his station for a long time. His skin had turned white, which meant he was in shock. He had to write a report that would change everything. The galaxy was about to meet its newest and most unpredictable member. He began typing his report to the Galactic Council. "Emergency priority communication. Species 7439 has achieved faster than light capability and made unauthorized first contact. Immediate Council review required. Previous classification completely inaccurate. Recommend immediate upgrade to active monitoring status." He paused, then added one more line. "Humans are not what we thought they were. Everything has changed." The emergency message from Commander Zethkar reached the Galactic Council headquarters within hours. The massive space station called Nexus Prime orbited a dying star at the center of the galaxy. It had been the seat of galactic government for over 10,000 years. Elder Morden received the message first. He was one of the oldest beings in the galaxy, a member of a species called the Seekers. His body looked like a giant squid with 12 tentacles, each one covered in sensory organs that could detect the smallest changes in emotion and intent. Right now, all 12 tentacles were writhing with alarm. "Impossible," Morden said as he read Zethkar's report. "A species cannot advance from primitive to space-capable in mere cycles. This violates every known law of development." He immediately called an emergency session of the Council. Within 6 hours, representatives from all 12 elder species had gathered in the Great Chamber. The room was enormous, designed to hold hundreds of different alien forms. Some council members floated in tanks of liquid. Others hung from the ceiling. A few existed as pure energy inside containment fields. Elder Vosin spoke first. She was a massive creature that looked like a living tree with bark made of crystal. Her voice sounded like wind through leaves. "The Veltari commander's report is disturbing. These humans have broken every rule we know about species development." The holographic display in the center of the chamber showed Earth and the human ship New Horizon. Intelligence reports scrolled past showing human activities over the past 3 months. Orbital construction projects, advanced weapon testing, deep space probes already heading toward other star systems. "Look at this data," said Elder Zalketh, a being made of living crystal that pulsed with different colors as she spoke. "They went from primitive chemical rockets to faster than light travel in 90 days. They decoded our secure communications in less than 100 days. They have identified weaknesses in our technology that we never knew existed." Elder Thakvor, who looked like a giant metal spider, clicked his mandibles nervously. "Most disturbing is their military preparation. While developing space technology, they also expanded their weapons capabilities. They are not exploring space peacefully. They are militarizing it." Morden activated more displays showing human military activities. "They have built orbital defense platforms around their planet. They have armed their new starships with weapons based on our own technology, but improved beyond our current capabilities. They are not acting like a species seeking peaceful contact. Perhaps we should eliminate them before they become a real threat," suggested Elder Kethmak, a creature that existed as a cloud of poisonous gas. "If they are developing this quickly, they could surpass us within decades. We cannot simply destroy a sentient species," Elder Vosin replied. "That would violate our most fundamental laws. Besides, they have already demonstrated that they can defend themselves." Elder Morden called up the technical analysis of human defensive capabilities. According to Zethakar's report, they have developed shield technology that is 30% more efficient than our own. Their weapon systems have a firing rate twice as fast as standard Council military equipment. And this is what they developed in 3 months. The Council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. If humans could improve galactic technology so quickly, what would they be capable of in a year? In 10 years? "We have no choice," Morden announced. "We must meet with them, but we must be prepared for any outcome." 3 days later, Ambassador Kate Phillips arrived at Nexus Prime aboard a human diplomatic vessel. She was a woman in her 40s with gray hair and intelligent eyes. She had spent her career negotiating between hostile nations on Earth. Now she would represent all of humanity to an alien government. With her came General Rick Mason, a career military officer who had fought in multiple wars, and Dr. Alan Wright, the engineer who had reverse-engineered alien faster-than-light technology. Each human had been chosen for their specific skills and experience. The docking bay at Nexus Prime was huge, designed to accommodate ships from dozens of different species. The human vessel looked small compared to some of the massive alien ships, but it was clearly built for war as much as diplomacy. Weapon ports and shield generators were visible along its hull. Kate walked into the council chamber wearing a simple blue suit. She carried no weapons and showed no fear, even though she was surrounded by beings that could destroy her home planet with a single command. General Mason and Dr. Wright flanked her, their expressions calm but alert. "Honored Council," Kate began, her voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. "I am Ambassador Kate Phillips, representing the human species and the planet Earth. We come seeking recognition as a spacefaring civilization and requesting formal diplomatic relations." Elder Morden's tentacles coiled and uncoiled as he studied the humans. "Ambassador Phillips, your species has developed at an unprecedented rate. This concerns us greatly. How can we trust beings who achieve advanced technology while simultaneously expanding their military capabilities?" Kate smiled politely. "Elder Morden, we have studied the histories of every species represented in this council. Every single one of your civilizations maintained military forces during their development phase. The Seekers fought 3 galactic wars before joining the council. The Veltari conquered 12 star systems through military force. The Kethmori enslaved 6 primitive species before developing peaceful philosophy. The council chamber became very quiet. Most species preferred not to discuss their violent histories." General Mason stepped forward. "Honored elders, the difference between humans and other species is not that we are more violent. The difference is that we learned warfare before we learned diplomacy. This does not make us evil. It makes us efficient." "Efficient at what?" asked Elder Voshin. "At solving problems," Dr. Wright replied. He activated a holographic presentation showing human technological developments. "In 3 months, we have improved your energy weapon designs by 40%. We have increased your shield efficiency by 30%. We have identified ways to make your faster-than-light drives 3 times more efficient." The display showed side-by-side comparisons of galactic technology and human improvements. In every case, the human versions were better. "We are not here to threaten anyone," Kate continued. "We are here to contribute. Humans have a natural talent for taking existing ideas and making them work better. We want to share that talent with the galaxy." Elder Zalketh pulsed with worried colors. "But your improvements to our technology could be used as weapons against us." "They could be," Kate agreed. "Just as your technology could be used as weapons against us. The question is not whether we could harm each other. The question is whether we choose to help each other instead." Dr. Wright activated another display showing human achievements. "In our 3 months of space travel, we have already made contact with 2 other species besides the Veltari. We helped the Yilnari colony repair their failing life support systems. We provided the Koldar trading fleet with improved navigation systems that cut their travel time in half. You made unauthorized contact with other species?" Elder Thakvor clicked his mandibles angrily. "We made helpful contact," General Mason corrected. "Both species were in distress. We assisted them. Both now consider humans to be friends and allies." Kate stepped closer to the center of the chamber. "Honored elders, you are worried about human military capabilities. But consider what we have done with those capabilities. We could have attacked Commander Zethkar's monitoring station and taken it by force. Instead, we visited peacefully and shared information. We could have used our improved weapons to threaten weaker species. Instead, we helped them solve their problems." Elder Morden's tentacles shifted to show deep thought. "Your actions suggest peaceful intentions, but your rapid development suggests hidden agendas." "Our agenda is not hidden," Kate replied firmly. "We want to be part of galactic civilization. We want to trade with other species. We want to learn from you and share our knowledge in return. We want to help solve the galaxy's problems." She paused and looked directly at each council member. "But we will not be treated as children. We will not accept a junior status based on our age as a spacefaring species. We have proven our capabilities. We demand to be treated as equals." The silence in the chamber stretched for several minutes. Finally, Elder Voshin spoke. "What if we refuse your request?" General Mason answered without hesitation. "Then you will have made an enemy instead of an ally. Humans do not respond well to being dismissed or ignored." "Are you threatening the council?" Elder Kethmak's poisonous cloud darkened. "I am stating a fact," Mason replied calmly. "You have 3 choices. Work with us as equals, try to control us as subordinates, or try to eliminate us as threats. Only one of those choices leads to a peaceful outcome. Kate stepped forward again. Honored Council, we prefer cooperation, but we are prepared for any of your choices. The question you must answer is simple. Do you want humanity as a friend or as an enemy? Elder Mordoon looked around the chamber, at his fellow council members. The decision they made in the next few hours would determine the future of galactic civilization. These humans had proven they could not be. The monitoring station floated in the dark space at the edge of the solar system. Inside the metal walls, Commander Zethkar looked at his daily reports. He had been watching the small blue planet called Earth for 20 years now. The job was boring most days. Zethkar belonged to a race called the Veltari. They were tall and thin with 4 arms and skin that changed colors based on how they felt. Right now his skin showed a dull green, which meant he was bored and tired. "Sir, another war started on the 3rd planet," said his helper, pointing at the big screen that showed Earth. "The humans are fighting again." Zethkar did not look surprised. These humans always seemed to be fighting someone. In the 20 years he had been watching them, they had never stopped having wars somewhere on their planet. The Galactic Council had given Earth a simple rating: developing species with primitive war skills. The danger level was marked as green, which meant safe. "How many wars are they having now?" Zethkar asked. 12 small ones and 3 big ones, his helper replied. "They use explosive weapons and metal flying machines. Very basic stuff." Zethkar made notes in his report. Most planets like Earth took about 1,000 years to stop fighting among themselves and start exploring space. The Galactic Council would make contact with them when they learned how to travel faster than the speed of light. Until then, they would just watch and wait. On Earth, Captain Jake Morrison walked into the command center of a secret military base hidden deep underground. The base was part of something called the International Space Defense Project. 20 countries had worked together to build it after they discovered something strange in space. Jake was a tall man with short brown hair and serious eyes. He had been a fighter pilot before becoming the leader of this project. The job had changed his life completely. 3 months ago, everything had been normal. Now he knew that Earth was not alone in the universe. Dr. Lisa Park was waiting for him at her computer station. She was a smart woman who studied languages, but not human languages. She studied alien languages. Her long black hair was pulled back and her eyes looked tired from working all night. "Jake, you need to see this right now," Lisa said. Her voice sounded excited and worried at the same time. Jake walked over to her computer. The screen showed strange symbols and letters that looked nothing like any human writing. Next to the alien text, Lisa had written the English translation. "I finally broke their code," Lisa explained. "These signals we have been picking up from space are not natural. They are messages between alien ships and stations. And Jake, they have been watching us." Jake felt his heart beat faster. For months they had been studying the strange energy, signals coming from the edge of their solar system. Most scientists thought they were just natural space phenomena, but Lisa had suspected something else. "What do the messages say?" Jake asked. Lisa pointed to her translation on the screen. "They have a big list of all the planets with life on them. Earth is number 7439 on their list. They call us humans. But look at what they wrote about us." Jake read the translated text. His face got angry as he read each word. The alien report said, "Species 7439 known as humans. Development level is primitive. War capability is basic. Threat level is green, which means safe. Recommended action is to wait for natural development, then make contact later." "They think we are primitive," Jake said. His voice was quiet, but full of anger. "That is not the worst part," Lisa continued. She showed him more translated text. "They have been watching us for 20 years. They have detailed reports about our wars, our technology, and our governments. They know everything about us, but they think we are too stupid and weak to be worth talking to." Jake read more of the alien reports. They described human weapons as basic and crude. They said human space technology was at least 500 years behind galactic standards. They predicted it would take humans another 1,000 years to develop faster than light travel. "They made one big mistake," Jake said. What mistake? Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. They assumed we would follow their rules about how fast a species should develop. They think we will take 1,000 years to catch up to them, but they don't understand humans very well. Lisa looked confused. What do you mean? Think about human history, Jake explained. When we want something, we don't wait around for it to happen naturally. We make it happen fast. We went from the first airplane to landing on the moon in less than 70 years. We built nuclear weapons in 3 years during a war. When humans are motivated, we can do impossible things very quickly. Jake called his team together. In the command center, 15 of the smartest people on Earth gathered around the main table. There were scientists, engineers, military officers, and computer experts. Each one had been chosen because they were the best at what they did. Everyone, Dr. Park has made an important discovery, Jake announced. We are not alone, and our neighbors have been watching us, but they think we are too primitive to matter. He showed them the translated alien messages. The room got very quiet as everyone read about how the aliens saw humanity. Some people looked angry. Others looked worried. A few looked excited. Dr. Alan Wright, the team's top engineer, spoke first. If they have been watching us, then we can watch them back. Their communication signals contain technical information. We can learn how their technology works. Exactly, Jake said. We are going to prove to these aliens that they made a big mistake about humans. We are going to develop faster than light travel, build starships, and go introduce ourselves to them personally. Dr. Park looked worried. Jake, what if they are dangerous? What if they don't want contact with us? Then we better be ready for them, Jake replied. Either way, the days of them ignoring us are over. Humans don't like being underestimated. Over the next 3 months, the secret base became the busiest place on Earth. The best minds from every country worked together on one goal: prove that humans were not primitive. They studied the alien signals 24 hours a day. They engineered alien technology from the electromagnetic patterns in the transmissions. The breakthrough came when Dr. Wright figured out how the aliens bent space to travel faster than light. The process was complex, but not impossible for humans to understand. Within weeks, they had built a small test engine. Within 2 months, they had designed a full-sized starship. Jake stood in the construction bay and looked at humanity's first faster-than-light starship. They had named it the New Horizon. It was not as big or fancy as the alien ships they had seen in the intercepted transmissions, but it would work. Sir? Lisa called from her communication station. I am picking up new alien chatter. The monitoring station at the edge of our solar system is reporting unusual energy readings. I think they detected our test flights. Jake smiled. Good. It is time to introduce ourselves. The New Horizon launched 3 days later with Jake as captain and a small crew of volunteers. Their destination was the alien monitoring station that had been watching Earth for 20 years. It was time for the watchers to meet the watched. As they approached the station, Jake opened a communication channel on the alien frequencies that Lisa had decoded. Attention alien monitoring station, Jake broadcast. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Space Command. We know you have been watching us. Now we would like to meet you face to face. The response took several minutes to come back. When it did, the alien voice sounded shocked and confused. Impossible, the alien said. Your species was classified as primitive just cycles ago. How did you achieve faster than light capability? Jake's smile got bigger. You made the mistake of underestimating humans. We don't follow your development timeline. We make our own rules. Ignored. Now the Council had to decide how to deal with them. We will deliberate and give you the Galactic Council deliberated for 3 days. In the diplomatic quarters, Ambassador Kate Phillips waited with her team. The alien rooms were strange but comfortable. The walls could change colors and the furniture adjusted to fit human bodies. Even the food machines had been programmed to create meals that humans could eat. They are taking their time, General Mason said as he looked out the window at the massive space station. Ships from dozens of alien species came and went from the docking bays below. Dr. Wright was studying data on his portable computer. I have been monitoring their internal communications. The council is split. Half want to accept us as equals. Half want to restrict our activities until we prove we are not dangerous. Kate nodded. She had expected this reaction. They are scared because we develop too fast. They think we might be unstable or aggressive. We are aggressive, Mason pointed out. That is not necessarily a bad thing. No, but it makes them nervous, Kate replied. We need to prove that we can use our aggressive nature constructively. A soft chime indicated someone was at their door. Kate opened it to find Elder Morden himself, accompanied by 2 other council members. This was unusual. Normally, junior diplomats handled communications with new species. Ambassador Phillips, Morden said through his translator. The council has reached a preliminary decision. But first, we wish to test your species' intentions and capabilities. Kate felt her heart beat faster. This could be good or very bad. What kind of test, Elder? We have 2 situations that require immediate attention, Morden explained. Both involve species that are members of the galactic community. How you handle these situations will determine our final decision about humanity's status. Elder Voshin stepped forward, her crystal bark flickering with different colors. The first situation is on Radiant 7, a colony world of the Keth-Mori people. Their terraforming equipment has failed and the population is dying. Standard council rescue protocols will take months to organize. The colony will be dead before help arrives. The second situation, added Elder Zalketh, is a territorial dispute between the Krex Empire and the Yiltar Consortium. Both are council members, but they have been close to war for decades. Recent events have pushed them to the edge of actual combat. Kate looked at her team. Both situations were serious and complex. The council was obviously testing whether humans could handle real galactic problems. We accept both challenges, Kate said without hesitation. When do we start? Immediately, Morden replied. We have prepared 2 ships for your use. Choose your teams carefully. The galaxy will be watching. 6 hours later, Commander Steve Carter led the first human mission toward Radiant 7. Steve was a former Navy engineer who had helped design the New Horizon. With him came Dr. Laura Davis, the best terraforming expert on Earth, and a team of 12 human technicians. The Keth-Mori colony was in desperate condition when they arrived. The atmosphere processors had failed completely, and toxic gases were slowly poisoning the air. The alien colonists were weak and dying. Their own repair teams had given up hope. Colony leader Treshavan met the humans at the landing pad. He was a tall, thin being with 6 arms and skin that changed colors like a mood ring. Right now, his skin showed the gray color of despair. Yes, Council said you might be able to help, Treshavan said. But our best engineers have tried everything. The damage is too extensive. Dr. Davis studied the failing atmospheric processors with her team. The alien technology was advanced but had a fatal design flaw. The systems were too complex and had too many failure points. Steve, I can fix this, Laura said, after just 2 hours of analysis. But I will need to completely rebuild their entire atmospheric system. It will take 3 days of nonstop work. What do you need? Steve asked. Everything, Laura replied. And I mean everything. We are going to tear out their old system and build a new one from scratch. The Keth-Mori engineers watched in amazement as humans began working. Where the aliens had tried to repair the complex, existing system, humans simply removed it and built something simpler but more effective. Where alien procedures required weeks of testing and committee approvals, humans tested systems in real time while building them. Laura worked 18 hours, straight, rebuilding atmospheric processors while breathing through a mask. Her human team worked in shifts, but Laura refused to rest. When Keth-Mori engineers offered to help, she taught them new techniques while continuing to work. Your methods are so different, Treshavan observed. You do not follow our safety protocols. Our safety protocol is to fix the problem before more people die, Steve replied. We test systems as we build them. We take calculated risks to save lives. On the second day, the first rebuilt processor came online. Clean air began flowing through the colony for the first time in weeks. The Keth-Mori colonists started to recover immediately. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, negotiator Ellen Brooks was trying to prevent a war. Ellen had spent 15 years settling disputes between hostile nations on Earth. Now she faced her biggest challenge yet. The Krex Empire and the Yiltar Consortium had been enemies for over 2 centuries. The Krex were warriors who valued strength and conquest. The Yiltar were traders who valued wealth and security. Both sides claimed the same mineral-rich star systems. Ellen met with representatives from both species on a neutral space station. With her came Colonel Pete Williams, a military historian who understood warfare, and Dr. Nancy Coleman, who studied alien cultures. War leader Thakmor represented the Krex. He was a huge creature covered in natural armor with 4 arms that ended in sharp claws. Everything about him suggested violence and aggression. Trademaster Yilseth spoke for the Yiltar. She was small and quick with large eyes and delicate hands perfect for detailed work. Her people feared conflict and preferred to avoid confrontation. The disputed systems belong to the Krex by right of strength, Thakmor declared. We are warriors. We take what we can hold. The systems were discovered by Yiltar exploration teams, Yilseth replied nervously. We have mining rights granted by the Council centuries ago. Ellen listened to both sides argue for hours. The same arguments that had been repeated for decades. Finally, she stood up and activated a holographic display. You are both thinking about this problem incorrectly, Ellen announced. You are fighting over resources when you should be cooperating to maximize those resources. She showed them economic data that Dr. Coleman had compiled. War leader Thakmor, the Krex have the best mining technology in the galaxy. Trademaster Yilseth, the Yiltar have the most efficient refinement processes and the best trade networks. What is your point, human? Thakmor growled. My point is that you are stronger together than apart, Ellen replied. The Krex can extract raw materials faster than anyone. The Yiltar can process those materials and sell them for the highest prices. A partnership would make both species richer than either could be alone. Colonel Williams stepped forward. War leader, the greatest military victories in human history were won through superior logistics and resource management. A warrior who ensures his people prosper is more successful than a warrior who only knows how to fight. Dr. Coleman addressed the Yiltar representative. Trademaster, the most profitable businesses on Earth are partnerships that combine different strengths. The Krex need your expertise as much as you need their mining capabilities. Ellen activated another display, showing projected profits from cooperation versus conflict. If you fight, both sides lose resources, ships, and lives. If you work together, both sides become wealthy and powerful. Thakmor studied the numbers carefully. Despite his aggressive appearance, he was not stupid. You suggest the Krex share our strength with traders? I suggest the Krex use their strength to become the most successful empire in the galaxy, Ellen replied. Through partnership, not conquest. Yilseth looked at the economic projections with growing excitement. The profits would be enormous. But how can we trust warriors not to simply take everything once they have access to our facilities? Because, Colonel Williams said, it would be economically stupid. Why steal once when you can profit forever? Ellen spent the next week creating a detailed partnership agreement. The Krex would provide mining operations and security. The Yiltar would handle refinement and sales. Profits would be shared based on contribution levels. Both sides were suspicious at first, but the economic benefits were undeniable. Within days, they had signed the first Krex-Yiltar cooperation agreement in over 2 centuries. Back on Radiant 7, Dr. Davis completed the atmospheric system repairs ahead of schedule. The colony was not only saved, but now had more efficient air processing than before the crisis. Your people are remarkable, Treshavan told Commander Carter. You accomplished in 3 days what our experts said was impossible. We did not do anything impossible, Steve replied. We just approached the problem differently. Sometimes simple solutions work better than complex ones. Both human teams returned to Nexus Prime within a week. The Council had been monitoring their activities and the results spoke for themselves. 1 colony saved, 1 potential war prevented. 2 former enemies now working as partners. Elder Mordoon met with Kate Phillips in The emergency council session began at dawn, Galactic Standard Time. All 12 elder species gathered in the Great Chamber of Nexus Prime. For the first time in decades, every council member attended in person rather than sending representatives. The decision about humanity was too important to delegate. Elder Morden called the session to order. His tentacles showed the deep blue color of serious contemplation. Around the chamber, other council members displayed their own signs of tension and uncertainty. "We are here to make a final decision about species 7439, known as humans," Morden announced. "We have observed their capabilities and tested their intentions. Now we must decide their place in galactic civilization." Elder Vosin spoke first. Her crystal bark glowed with warm golden light. "The humans saved the Kethmori colony on Radiant 7. Our own rescue protocols would have taken months to organize. The entire population would have died. These humans accomplished the impossible in 3 days. More than that," added Elder Kethdor of the Kethmori people. "They did not just repair our atmospheric systems, they improved them. Our colony now has more efficient air processing than our homeworld. They taught our engineers new techniques that we are already using on other worlds." Elder Thakvor clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "The prevention of war between the Kreks and Yiltar is equally impressive. Those species have been enemies for centuries. Dozens of diplomatic missions have failed to resolve their conflict. Yet humans created a partnership agreement in 1 week. War leader Krexthal, the Kreks representative to the council, stood to speak. His massive armored form dominated his section of the chamber. The human negotiators understood something that others missed. They did not try to make us stop being warriors. They showed us how to be more successful warriors through cooperation instead of conquest. Trademaster Yilneth represented the Yiltar. Her small form seemed tiny next to the Kreks leader, but her voice carried clearly. "Our profits have increased 40% since signing the partnership agreement. The humans created a solution that made both species stronger. This is unprecedented in our history." Elder Zalketh pulsed with worried colors. "But we must consider the implications of human capabilities. They developed faster than light travel in 3 months. They decoded our secure communications. They reverse-engineered our technology and improved it. If they can do all this so quickly, what prevents them from surpassing us completely?" "Perhaps the question is not whether they will surpass us," said Elder Morden. "Perhaps the question is whether we want them to do it as our allies or our enemies." Elder Kethmak's poisonous cloud darkened. "They have shown aggressive tendencies. Their rapid militarization of space concerns me greatly." "All species militarize space," replied Elder Vosin. "The difference is that humans are honest about it. They do not pretend their ships are purely scientific when they clearly have weapons." Elder Sector, who rarely spoke in council sessions, activated his translation matrix. His species existed as pure energy and communicated through electromagnetic pulses. "I have analyzed human communication patterns and behavioral data. They prefer direct action over lengthy deliberation. They value results over procedures. They are willing to take risks that other species avoid." "Is that good or bad?" asked Elder Zalketh. "It is different," Sector replied, "and difference can be valuable if properly channeled." The council chamber fell silent as members considered the implications. Finally, Elder Mordoon spoke again. "We have 3 options. First, we can deny human membership and attempt to isolate them. Second, we can grant limited membership with restrictions on their activities. Third, we can grant full membership and treat them as equals." "What are the risks of each option?" asked Elder Thakvor. Elder Vosin answered. "If we isolate them, they will likely form their own alliances with non-council species. They have already made contact with several independent worlds. They could create a rival power structure. If we grant limited membership," added Elder Kethdor, "they will likely ignore the restrictions. They have already proven they do not follow expected development patterns." "And if we grant full membership?" asked Elder Zalketh. "Then we gain the most unpredictable and potentially valuable allies in galactic history," Morden replied. "But we also lose some of our ability to control the pace of change in galactic civilization." The debate continued for hours. Some council members argued that humans were too dangerous to trust. Others argued that they were too valuable to alienate. A few suggested that humanity represented the future of galactic civilization, whether the council liked it or not. Finally, Elder Morden called for a formal vote. The decision required approval from 9 of the 12 council species. One by one, each elder cast their vote. The Seekers voted for full membership. The Veltari voted for limited membership. The Kethmori voted for full membership. The Kreks voted for full membership. The Yiltar voted for full membership. The Crystal Beings voted for isolation. The Energy Beings voted for full membership. The Tree People voted for full membership. The Metal Spiders voted for limited membership. The Gas Clouds voted for isolation. The Water Dwellers voted for full membership. The final vote came from the Ancient Stone Beings, who had been silent throughout the entire debate. "We vote for full membership," their representative announced. "Humanity reminds us of ourselves when we were young. They have the same hunger for knowledge and the same willingness to challenge old ways of thinking." The final count was 8 votes for full membership, 2 votes for limited membership, and 2 votes for isolation. Full membership required 9 votes. The motion failed by 1 vote. Elder Morden was about to announce the result when Elder Kethmak suddenly spoke. "I wish to change my vote." The chamber erupted in surprised sounds from a dozen different species. Council members rarely changed their votes after the formal count. "The Gas Cloud species changes its vote to full membership," Kethmak announced. "These humans saved a dying colony and prevented a war in the span of 1 week. If we cannot trust species who prove themselves through actions, then we trust no one." Elder Morden counted again. 9 votes for full membership. The motion passed. "By the authority vested in this council by the Galactic Charter, I hereby declare that species 7439, known as humans, is granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities thereof." Ambassador Kate Phillips and her team were brought into the chamber to hear the announcement. Kate maintained her diplomatic composure, but inside she felt enormous relief and pride. "Ambassador Phillips," Elder Morden continued, "humanity is now recognized as a full member of galactic civilization. But we must also update your species classification." A new holographic display appeared showing humanity's updated file. Kate read the new classification with satisfaction. Species 7439, humans. Classification level, Omega, full council members. Military capability, advanced. Technological development, accelerated. Diplomatic status, allied. Threat assessment, minimal to allies, extreme to enemies. Recommended. Approach, full cooperation and mutual respect. Elder Morden paused, then added the final notation that would become famous throughout the galaxy. Special advisory. Do not underestimate human capabilities. Do not attempt to restrict human activities. Without clear justification, do not engage in hostile actions against humans under any circumstances unless prepared for total war. Kate smiled at the last line. It was exactly what she had hoped for. Recognition of humanity's strength combined with acknowledgement of their preference for peace. "Thank you, honored council," Kate said. "Humanity looks forward to contributing to galactic civilization." "And we look forward to seeing what you contribute," Elder Morden replied, "though I suspect it will be nothing like what we expect." 6 months later, human innovations had spread throughout the galaxy. Human-designed improvements were being installed on ships of every council species. Human diplomats had resolved 3 more major conflicts. Human engineers had upgraded infrastructure on dozens of worlds. Most importantly, human ideas were changing how other species approached problems. The old ways of lengthy deliberation and careful procedures were being supplemented by human style, rapid innovation and practical solutions. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the newest human starship, the Galactic Unity. Through the viewing ports, he could see ships from 12 different species working together on a joint exploration mission to uncharted space. Dr. Lisa Park joined him at the observation window. "Remember when they thought we were primitive?" Jake laughed. "They were not completely wrong. We just had a different definition of civilization." And what definition is that? Civilization is not about following old rules perfectly, Jake replied. Civilization is about creating new solutions that work better for everyone. In the distance, human and alien crews worked side by side, building something unprecedented in galactic history. A truly cooperative civilization where innovation was valued as much as tradition. The galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity. Humans did not just join galactic civilization, they transformed it, and that transformation had only just begun.